Today we're visiting one of the most famous gardens in the world, Monet's house and gardens in Giverny. This place inspired many of Claude Monet's paintings, but today we're showing you what it actually looks like in real life. We'll show you exactly how to get there, the best time to visit to see all the blooms, what there is to see inside the gardens and house, how much it costs, tips for avoiding crowds, and whether this day trip is actually worth adding to your itinerary. Before visiting the gardens, it helps to know why this place matters. Claude Monet was one of the founders of Impressionism, an art movement focused on capturing light, color, and everyday moments, which is why they started painting outdoors rather than in a studio. He moved to Giverny in 1883 and lived here for over 40 years. He curated each space to turn his surroundings into a real-life source of inspiration. Getting to Giverny from both Paris and Versailles is pretty easy, and you have a few options depending on your budget and how much flexibility you want. This is one of the easiest and cheapest ways to do it yourself. Take a train from Gare Saint-Lazare to Vernon-Giverny station, which takes around 45 minutes. Once you arrive, Giverny is about 10 minutes shuttle bus ride away, or you can take a taxi, rent a bike. There's a rental station right by the train station that we've linked in the description, or walk if you want to save money. Check train schedules before booking tickets because rail work can sometimes affect routes from Paris. If you want everything planned for you, there are plenty of guided tours that leave from Paris, including your bus transport, entry tickets, and a guide. Some tours only visit Giverny and others combine Giverny and Palace of Versailles in one day. That honestly sounds insane to me. I don't know how you could see both in one day. But if it's something you're interested in, we've linked some great options for you in the description. If you don't go for a guided tour and prefer more flexibility, we recommend going by car. This is what we did. The drive is about 1 hour from Versailles or 1 hour and 40 minutes from Paris. There's free parking nearby, which makes driving even easier. We've also linked exactly where we parked in the description and the car rental tool we use if you need to rent a car. Walk around the village after or before your visit. Giverny is tiny and really pretty, and there are a few souvenir shops with Monet-inspired gifts, cafes like Nanfea, where we had some viennoise hot chocolate, the Museum of Impressionism, and cute streets that most people skip once they leave. Keep in mind, for the most part, a lot of the restaurants and cafes are touristy, but are great for a quick bite or a coffee. The gardens at Monet's house are split into two main areas. First is the Clos Normand, which is the large flower garden right in front of his house. This is where you'll see the famous pathways lined with flower beds and metal arches covered in roses and vines. One of the coolest details here is that the flower beds are arranged by color, almost like a rainbow. The flowers change throughout the year, but in spring and early summer, you can expect things like tulips, irises, peonies, roses, poppies, and daisies. Later in summer, you'll see more dalilahs, sunflowers, the water lilies, and other seasonal flowers. Then you'll walk through an underpass to reach the water garden, which is probably the most famous part of the property. This is where you'll find the Japanese bridge covered in wisteria, the lily pond, and the water lilies that inspired some of Monet's most famous paintings. There are also willow trees, bamboo, and other plants. Really take your time here, it's so peaceful. April to early June is usually the best overall time to go. This is when you'll see a lot of the flower beds looking their best and wisteria over the Japanese bridge, especially early May, since it only lasts for about 2 weeks. We went in early April, and as you can see, we didn't get to experience it in full bloom. Late June to August is best if seeing Monet's famous water lilies is your priority. This is when they're usually in bloom, but it's also the busiest time of year, so expect bigger crowds. September to October can also be a great option if you want fewer people and cooler weather. The gardens are still beautiful, but you may miss some of the peak blooms. As for time of day, go right at opening at 10 a.m. or later in the afternoon if you want fewer crowds and better photos. Midday is usually the busiest with tour groups. And if you can, avoid weekends and public holidays because this place gets very busy. A weekday morning is usually your best bet. In 1883, Monet discovered Giverny while looking out of a train window and decided to move there. He first rented the house, then bought it in 1890 once he had more financial success. He lived there with his second wife, Alice Ochede, their combined children from previous marriages, and household staff. It was a very full house. He lived here until he died in 1926. You'll enter through the ground floor, where you'll first walk through Monet's small reading room and living spaces. The house feels very personal and lived in rather than super formal. It has this bright countryside charm with colorful walls, floral details, and large windows looking out onto the gardens. As you continue upstairs, you'll find Monet's bedroom, along with other private family bedrooms and smaller living spaces. These rooms feel more simple and intimate and give you a better idea what everyday life looked like inside the home. From there, you'll move into the yellow dining room, which is probably one of the most memorable rooms in the house. The walls are painted this bold, bright yellow with matching furniture reflecting Monet's love of color. Next is the blue kitchen, probably one of our favorites. It's covered in beautiful blue Rouen tiles and filled with copper cookware hanging on the walls. It's incredibly beautiful and it's one of the most photographed rooms in the house. Throughout the house, you'll notice a huge collection of Japanese prints and Asian-inspired artwork on the walls. Monet was deeply inspired by Japanese art called Japonisme, a popular craze in the late 19th century, which also influenced the designs of his famous water garden, including the Japanese bridge. Don't rush through the house. A lot of people focus only on the gardens, but Monet's colorful kitchen, dining room, and studio are really worth seeing too. If you're wondering where Monet painted all of his famous paintings, he painted outside a lot, but at the end of your visit, you'll go into the gift shop, which actually used to be the big studio he had built for large canvases and is the exact spot where he painted the famous water lilies. Tickets give you access to both Fondation Claude Monet and the gardens. For 2026, standard adult tickets are €13, children from 7 to 17 and students are €7, and children under 7 are free. We definitely recommend buying your tickets online in advance, especially during peak season because lines can get very long. People have reported waiting up to 2 hours without pre-booked tickets. The gardens are open daily from April 1st to November 1st from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. with last entry at 5:30 p.m. Even though we didn't get to see it in full bloom, yes, it is absolutely worth it. The gardens are so well looked after and tended to. Every corner is something more beautiful than the last, and the house is like something out of an old children's storybook. It's the perfect spring-summer day trip you cannot miss if you're close by staying in Paris or Versailles. If you're interested in adding the Palace of Versailles to your trip to Giverny, watch this video next where we go over our whole experience and what we would do differently if we visited again. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in that video. Safe travels!